Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Huawei. I'm an anchor of Shanghai television. I'm joined by Ling Yuan. She is a very famous virtual figure. Last year, she gave a song here on the stage. But this year, we are working jointly as the moderators of this session. With the rapid development of AI, virtual technology has become one of the drivers of this round of industrial revolution so that we can embrace even greater possibilities and expand the space of artificial intelligence. This is very well said, and you can take a rest. And now let's kick into the keynote session. The first speaker is very special. In my career, I have connected with many experts. And our first expert is very special because it will be the first speaker that I will be connecting from outside the Earth. And now let's get connected with Zhurong probe on the Mars. Good morning. My name is Zhu Rong. I'm the digital figure of Zhurong probe on the Mars. First, let me ask you a question. Do you like the photo that we took a couple of days ago about the Mars with the super smart cloud technology of Baidu? I'm willing and I'm capable to talk with all of you. And now let's bring on stage Li Yanhong, CEO and founder of Baidu company. Let's put it up for Mr. Li Yanhong. Hi, Zhurong. Hi, Mr. Li. Finally, it's a great pleasure to meet you. I'm the first Martian of China, and I heard that you are also creating a Mars probe. And do you have a chance of meeting him in the future? Well, I think you can, and because right now we have a connection of the internet, and you can be updated of all the information on Earth. If one day human beings could migrate to the Mars, and we will definitely bring that vehicle to the Mars. Fantastic, and it's exciting to know that I will be meeting new friends. And so, Mr. Li, let's take a photo together so that we can show to the friends in the future. All right. Fantastic. I will definitely take very good care of this photo. And now I will give the floor to you, and maybe you can share with us what are the amazing characteristics of AI. All right. Thank you very much. Zhurong. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good morning. Since 2018, the World Artificial Intelligence Conference has been held for 3 consecutive years. Artificial intelligence is a national strategy. It is also one of the 3 key pillars of Shanghai. It's also an important force driving China's transformative developments. Over the past years, AI has been focused on 2 areas. The first is how AI can help empower future life and production. The second is what are the potential risks and dangers that AI could bring to us. There's also discussion about the ethics side of AI. And with respect to the challenging impact of AI to the other types of values of society, there is less discussion. But I believe that the social value of AI is something worthy of our attention. It can play a very important role in help us improve our quality of life and also build a better prospect in the future. And we talk about smart transportation. Most of the times, we are talking about the efficiency of traffic and how that can help contribute to the GDP growth of a city. And according to our statistics, 15% of increase in efficiency is equivalent to 4% of GDP growth. But we have actually neglected one point, which is that traffic is actually part of livelihood, and it's also a social function, a function of service. Our perception about traffic jams and about the bans on vehicle purchases far more outweighs the AI's impact to transportation. According to statistics, each and every year there are 350,000 people that lose their life from traffic accidents. And that means that in every 20 seconds there is one person dying from traffic accidents. And 94% of the traffic accidents, they are triggered by human factors. In China, dangerous driving is the #1 ranking factor of criminal violations. So this is also very worrisome, a set of figure. Now globally, carbon emission globally is 51 billion tons, and 61% of that comes from transportation. So if we can improve the efficiency of transportation, we can dramatically reduce carbon emission. And that means that we can be protected from climate disasters. Through intelligent road and vehicles, we can build a smart transportation network, and that will help us to reduce the accidents on the road and also improve the efficiency of transportation, and that will also help us to build even better future. We will also be embracing green and environmentally friendly transportation. And China today is also a society, is already a society that is mainly that is having a lot of senior citizens. So China will transition from a moderate to a real sense of old age society, and that is posing a lot of challenges, both from the societal perspective and also from the transportation perspective. AI can do a lot in its perspective, no matter it is old age care in a home or in a nursery center. AI can provide a lot of support in health monitoring, in rehabilitation care, in meal and transportation assistance, and also in emergent resistance and aid. So how do we notify the family members when an old aged man falls on the ground? So if we could understand the trend of AI, we will be able to use some AI tools to talk to the elderly, and they will be very loyal companions. And AI is also expanding the flexibility and space of human life. And you just saw the Zhurong probe, and this is a joint research project with Baidu, and this is the first digital figure that we have delivered on the Mars. A machine translation is able to facilitate free communication between different countries. And IoT is now transforming vehicle into more like a human being, because it can understand what you're talking about, it can drive safer and faster. If the apple trees in the orchard, they become ripe, you don't need to go pick them from the apple trees, and they can be delivered to your doorsteps automatically. So there is a lot of difference in the views that we hold and the views that held by others. A lot of the people out there think that the smart vehicles, they're just a computer. And some believe that a smart vehicle is just one computer with 4 wheels, and we believe that smart vehicle is more like a intelligent robot. So in the future, a smart robot may also look like a smart vehicle. I believe AI will definitely affect the trend of development in the next 40 years, and this is a trend that is becoming more obvious in the fields of transportation, energy, media, and resources and energy. So AI is giving us new clues and also new ideas about innovative development. It has already started to reshape the industry and also change the future of mankind. To, to welcome such a day, we have been making preparations for quite a number of years. Not long ago, Baidu has released the next generation of share rides. The purpose is to reduce the cost of ride-hailing. In the future, we wish to expand this service to more than 30 cities in China so that we can serve a wider population. The latest generation of smart vehicle is currently under research, and we expect that in the next 2 to 3 years, it will be pushed on the market. And Baidu ACE transportation engine is well applied in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Chongqing, and in other 20 cities. Leveraging the ACE transportation engine, we will be able to connect better. And Chinese cities right now, they are building a world-class smart transportation cluster. From a macro perspective, smart vehicle, they can be a miniature of future transportation. And you are all very familiar about the operations of airports and airlines and also about telecommunications carriers. But right now, we don't have any digital operator in general. And we believe that smart and digital operation will become the way forward. And with AI, we are confident in contributing our innovative solutions to the building of smart cities. AI is fundamentally going to serve people. The value of AI is to help people, make people learn, and help people progress. The purpose is not to replace human beings and take over human beings. Only when technology delivers positive value can it truly make a sense. In the fields of old age care, we are also making efforts. My friends told me that in pilot communities supported by Baidu, each old age man is equipped with a Baidu smart screen, and the senior citizens, they can talk to the robot. They can also automatically monitor their health status, and they can also call remotely a hospital center. And this AI screen, they have all those skills needed for the senior citizens, and they can truly better the living quality of the elderly. So by delivering intelligent services and also equipment, we will be able to collect data and track the data and better manage the health status of the elderly. Through the comprehensive service platform, we will make breakthroughs between different platforms, and we can provide chronic disease management and also general care by utilizing touch and voice interaction. We are making the elderly live much better with the help of science and technology. And these smart technologies and tools, and they were only visible in science fiction movies. But right now, with the efforts of researchers, they are becoming the reality that is living around us. And Baidu is making this sophisticated world much simpler, and this is our mission. And we have always been bringing technology to all the people so that we can bring more freedom and possibility to this world. And we are also working together with partners, exploring better channels that enable science to bring benefits to the human society. Over the past few years, technology has been a cornerstone. But in the future, technology will help the human society to go back to a zero carbon emission society and also a carbon neutral society. In this process, AI is making a lot of changes, and it will be able to contribute social and economic progress in more respects. For example, biochemical calculations supported by AI is benefiting the human society, and it's also contributing to carbon peak and carbon neutrality. Not long ago, Baidu released our own carbon neutrality goal, and by 2030, we will achieve carbon neutrality at the corporation level. We will work together with our partners to support zero carbon growth so that we will be able to facilitate China's goal of carbon neutrality by 2060, and also help the world to achieve the goal of increasing the temperature by no more than 1.5 degrees over the next 100 years. Today, we feel increasingly that we are going to enter into a AI world. AI will be connecting all the different scenarios of life, and it will be in different corners of the society. The convenience brought by AI will also be a reality going into the future, and I have every confidence to believe that this is the future that we are marching towards. And this is the preface of future, and this is also the prospect that we are going to have in the future. Thank you very much, Mr. Li Yanhong, for showing us the different application scenarios of AI and how AI will help the future society. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is an old friend. Over the years, he has been committed to transformation of enterprises that is empowered by AI. So this year, what is the new views that he can share with us? Without further ado, let's give the floor to CEO and founder of Tencent, Ma Huateng. Party Secretary Li Qiang, Xiao Yaqing, and also Your Excellencies, dear guests, good morning. This is the first time that we are gathered here. Even the pandemic didn't stop us in 2018. Party Secretary of Shanghai, Li Qiang, said that Shanghai will become a highland of artificial intelligence. Over the past few years, Shanghai has gathered talents and built platforms. It has created a very good environment for companies like Tencent. And we are working together with China's Space Observatory platform in jointly developing certain research programs. AI can bring us to the outer space. It can also improve our livelihood. Already, some enterprises in Shanghai, they are using Tencent technologies to reduce their costs and also to improve their efficiency. And we have also brought the latest of the competition of the Tencent games on the King of Warriors. Over the past few years, AI in a number of key categories has benefited the human society, but there is still more that we don't know than we know. And to make technology a kind tool for human society, we have to leverage the technology in a scientific and reasonable manner. So that is why Tencent this year has included the sustainable development as a KPI of the company. So we want to use innovation and all the different parameters to guarantee that technology is for the people. Shanghai has witnessed China's rapid development. In the next century, Shanghai is poised to improve its competitiveness. Tencent will take a firm root in Shanghai. We will be committed to developing the digital technology and contributing to the digital transformation of Shanghai. And I sincerely hope that Shanghai can contribute its digital solution to the world. And finally, I would like to wish a resounding success of this conference. Thank you very much to Polima. And at different occasions, Polima has shared with us his views about how technology is a kind tool for the human society. Our next speaker believes that for entrepreneurs, we have to welcome the future, but for scientists, we have to design for the future. So what are the challenges that we may face in the future? May I now give the floor to the 2017 Turing Award winner. Now let's watch his video speech.
从弱的 AI 到强的 AI 到广义的 AI， 首先呢，我非常高兴，弱的 AI 呢，它只是一个基石。那么，为了实现广义的人工智能呢，它可能并不是一个渐进式的。这个机器学习，事实上呢，非常重要的是，我们可以从单一任务，这个单一区域、单一系统，然后比如说个人的助理啊，这个语言的自然的语言翻译啊等等，然后发展到呢，能够快速的、迅速的这个智能的系统，能够集成很多携程的任务的关系，然后实现很多甚至冲突的多领域的目标，并且呢，在不可预计的这个电子机械环境当中工作，比如说自我学习的汽车啊，这个智能电网和智能工厂等等。那么在这边呢，我有3张片子，然后来跟大家谈论3个挑战。第一个呢是关于神经网络的。那么神经网络它有什么样的优点呢？这是一个非常重要的问题。很显然我们都知道呢，神经网络可以迅速的来这个区分猫啊、狗啊这些东西。那么也就是说呢，它可以从这个1和0，然后可以变成猫和狗。但是呢，比如说在我们输入的这个自变量方面呢，这个0和1的偶数的关系、奇偶关系发生了变化。那么
There is a lot of changing factors. Will it still be able to identify a cat and a dog? And so you will need to consider the issue of sensitivity. And this is also very important. In a lot of the scenarios, the different inputs will lead to different outputs, and that is only very natural. We have talked about the level of confidence and trust in neuroscience and neural network.
Should be extracted automatically from the neural network. It's a hard problem, and I believe that there are situations where we cannot reach explainability. For instance, for the neural net that distinguishes between cats and dogs, this is not explainable just because we cannot formalize the concepts of cat and dog. Now I move to the next slide. I think explainability will remain largely unsolved problem, but this should not be a roadblock. We need techniques for building systems that are critical of guaranteed trustworthiness, despite all the problems we have with complexity and non-explainability of AI components. And here I see 3 important issues. One is how to build the systems that are trustworthy enough from untrusted components. We know that AI components will not be trusted, but we should develop theory about how to build such systems. And there are elements of such theory we have already applied, but this should be further developed. The second issue is symbiotic intelligence, how to combine artificial agents, how to make collaborate artificial agents and human agents. And this is a challenge that goes far beyond the human-machine interaction. That's very, very important. We should address adequately this problem, and this is about transfer of responsibility between machine and human agents. The third issue is evolution of standards. Standards will play an important role. We know that there are some trends toward permissive regulations, in particular in the United States. They accept self-certification of self-driving cars. I think this is a risk. This is not the right way to go. But in case of acceptance of this approach, then we can, if we have technical problems, then the trust of the public may be eroded. Now, probably you have seen the third challenge is linking symbolic and non-symbolic knowledge. Probably you have seen publications about neural nets being fooled in certain circumstances. There are many publications about that. And I would like to emphasize that humans can do much, much better than machines in awareness. And this is due to the fact that they combine, in fact, bottom-up reasoning from sensor level to a semantic model we have in our mind, and top-down reasoning from the semantic model to perception. So just to give an example, if I consider this top that is covered by snow, if the neural net is not adequately trained, it will never recognize this as a stop, while humans can always recognize a stop just because they combine symbolic and non-symbolic knowledge. Or if I show a human this picture with the aircraft, it is an accident. It's very easy to understand this. And for machines, it's very, very hard to achieve this kind of awareness. And finally, this third picture, if I tell you that I have a father and a child, no need to explain who is the father, who is the child, just because of common sense knowledge you have. So the challenge is to develop self-learning systems that are
所以呢，我们这里就是要有一
progressively
些这
semantic
个
models
自我
of
学
their
习的，
level.
可以在这个自适应的环境下呢，可以不断的这个学习的一种模型。所以
have some self-learning that is naturally and spontaneously adapting to the different scenarios. So machine learning
其实我觉得这是最困难的一个问题。
is automatically connecting different sets of data, but this is also the most difficult part.
就是对于智能的一个定义。那么就是呢，智能
Last but not least, let me share with you what is the definition of intelligence.
不是你知道的东西，
So
而是呢，
this is by
知道该怎么办。
Jean Piaget, which is a scientist from Switzerland. And so intelligence is not something intelligence is telling you what you need to know when you don't know. So thank you very much to our great speaker. He touched upon neural network. Thank you very much. And now let's bring on stage another academic master in China about artificial intelligence. He will talk about the transformation and innovation of AI. May I now give the floor to Academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, Mei Hong.
各位领导、各位专家同行，大家上午好。
Party Secretary Li, Minister Xiao,
大家分享对于
distinguished guests,
开放创新
ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a great pleasure to have this opportunity to share with you my views about transformation and open innovation. Digital transformation is already the trend of our times, and we are already in this digital economy era. And to develop digital economy, and this is a important strategy of the country. According to Party Secretary Xi Jinping, digital economy is a unprecedented opportunity for the Chinese nation. We have to make breakthroughs
千载难逢。
and leverage the leading role of digital technology. So the key words here in this sentence is leading and innovation to build a digital country. This is already a national strategy, and this is also a inherent requirement for our times. So this will entail that different industries and sectors must jointly embrace innovation. And the most important is the transformation of the manufacturing industry. China has made important arrangements in digital transformation. If you look at the two sessions of the provincial level, they are all talking about digital transformation. So from the consumption sector to the traditional sectors, in particular manufacturing, we are witnessing a very big wave of transformation. So I believe that big data will be driving this. And IoT, or the Internet of Things, will fundamentally change the way of a connection between human beings and the network. The key feature is that it will be able to improve itself through innovation and also breed more business sectors. In this process, a lot of the traditional sectors, they will vanish and new sectors will emerge. And so this is a trend that we have to address to, considering the life cycle of previous sectors. I believe that this process will take roughly 30 years. So that is why I used the word times. The Industrial Revolution, within 300 years, it has left long-lasting impact for the human society. But this new round of industrial revolution, led by internet, this will be an even greater revolution in terms of width, and also impact. The impact of that will go beyond our recognition. I believe that this will be a fundamental transformation. It will transform our paradigm and also pattern. Informationization will cover not just traditional tools, but also some of the leading technologies that we're talking about in the future. And we have to also change the way of thinking. You will see that data is a very important production factor in this new era. And that is because it will be non-competitive. Its value is also very obvious, and also it's open sourced if you talk about the origins of those data. So digitalization and transformation, these are the two key words of my presentation. To truly transform, we have to change our concepts, change our ideas, change our design. And over the years, through our service, you can see that there are some challenges and phenomena that are hindering our development. And some entrepreneurs, they're not willing to engage in transformation because they have this old mindset. And some are not bold enough to engage in transformation because they are not that brave and they are afraid of risks. So I think concept is a very core element here. So we need to free our mind, change our way of thinking, embrace this thinking of the internet. We also need to allow education to play an empowering role. We need to educate the next generation of talents. We also need the government to play a leading and supporting role. Also, there needs to be success cases so that people know what is the journey ahead, what is the most effective and efficient way going forward. So these are the three very important elements. And now I have to talk about open innovation and what is my observation about that. Open means that everybody can access data, can order and change and edit this data. And of course, you need to have some sort of approval. And you need to talk about this open source software, open hardware, open access, open data, and open education resources. So the word open is a transformation from the machine era to software era, from a even macro perspective, we are transitioning from the industrial age to the digital age. So this is the key of such transformation. That is that everything will become open. I talked about freeing our mind, changing our concepts. That in itself is also a process of opening your mind. In technology, we have, for example, open source software, and this is the trailblazer of the time. And that has enabled coordination and synchronization across different equipments. It has fundamentally changed the overall industrial landscape. And let me share with you two sets of data, and you can simply take a look at the slide. And none of the transformation is not about open source. 90% of the enterprises and 90% of the software, they are to some extent open sourced. So this is already an unavoidable trend. And talking about artificial intelligence, you will have to rely on open source and also the opening of data. In the early days, we have open data and then open calculation. Now we have open sourced framework. So the high quality open is to dramatically improve the efficiency of algorithms. And the glory of AI today is indispensable from open source data and software. And open innovation is also a prerequisite to dramatically improve the competitiveness of AI. You can see that all the enterprises, they are embracing this open source software. They are building a ecosystem. Externally, they are opening their learning network, and that will also bring in more user resources, and that will help better improve the ecosystem. In the meantime, it can very quickly obtain those data. In return, this data can help optimize their model, and eventually this is a self or mutual reinforcing life cycle. In China, open innovation is officially included in the 14th five-year plan and also the long-range objectives through the year 2035. So we are talking about open communities, open searches, and also open-sourced codes and softwares and hardware. This can be found in a lot of the government documents. And now at the end of my presentation, let me share with you my understanding about open innovation. We have to pay particular attention to open-sourced innovation because that will help us to build independent and controllable IT system. In the meantime, it can help contribute China's digital transformation and grow China's digital economy. To truly understand open source, we have to embrace the spirit of open source because the key of that spirit lies in open collaboration and sharing, and also contribution. And these are the fundamental nature of the open source spirit. Through the Chinese Academy of Sciences, I submitted a proposal to the government that we need to encourage Chinese enterprises and communities to work with the world in this open source environment. In the meantime, we have to take a leading role in using Chinese as the language of the computer. We have to play a leading role. We have to build a Chinese international community. And on this basis, we can dramatically and gradually merge with the world. I believe that we can be leading in some sectors. And of course, you have to cultivate talents. And right now, there is a gap in our higher education system about open source. We have to pay particular attention to this field. We need to train talents with the best ideas and concepts and techniques of open source development. So open source can become part of our education system. So these are my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So if we use open source, we will be able to enter in a world of artificial intelligence. In his presentation, he pointed out that data already is a production factor, and this is a striking feature of our time. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the father of big data, and he believes that the fundamental nature of the world is data in itself. He wants to bring the benefit of data to more people. And without further ado, let's give the floor to Professor from the Oxford University, Soenbarger. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure meeting you today via video link. And let me share with you my observations about the role of data in small cities. The first observation is related to one of the most important challenges that we encounter in big data. And now let's take a look at big data. As of 2030, more than half of the world's population they will be living in urban areas, and this is an important milestone. At the very beginning, people rely on fetching fruits in surrounding areas, and then human society settled in villages, and that is where people lived in thousands of years ago. But cities far away from each other. But Industrial Revolution has promoted the development of cities, and people started to migrate to cities. In cities, they want to find life and work opportunities. But until 20th century, the average lifespan of cities is very short. It was until 20th century that people tend to live longer in cities. But this trend has also brought a lot of pressure for cities, and people hope that the cities are livable, and also they hope that cities can grow better with better governance mechanisms, and they have to respond to the needs of residents and also prepare for the uncertain future. So how do we achieve that? So this is exactly the promise of small cities. City management has to base on the reality of the city and also on the evolving realities of the city. Until present, it's very difficult to collect data. It is very challenging also to analyze the data so that we can understand the clues of the data and the patterns that is hidden in the data. But right now, thanks to the development of digital technology, we are able to use a lot of smart equipment from smartphones to earphones to sensors and to drones and automatic meters. Each and every day, they are collecting huge amount of data. And by collecting this data, decision makers of the city, they are able to base their decisions on analyzing previous experiences, and this is very important. The core of smart cities does not lie in any specific technology or a digital infrastructure. Although they are needed by smart cities, the core of digital city lies in the fact that they are able to make better decisions based on data. So this requires not just innovation in technology, but also in mechanisms and systems. Take, for example, Google's trail maps. It wants to use the concept of smart cities in the city renovation project in Toronto, Canada. After investing a lot of money for many years, it failed. So they started with a very good mission, and Google wants to demonstrate its experience and capacity in data, but Toronto wants to build a first-class city through these renovation projects. But eventually, those participating organizations, they cannot work together with each other and deliver a goal that is satisfying each and every stakeholders. So you can see that there is a gap of both the soft power and also the solid power of all the stakeholders, and they are not able to formulate a shared and common goal. So this is an important failure, and it's awakening and alarming. So it made us know that we have to use both the advanced technologies and also concepts. Although when a city has small infrastructures, but when cities hesitate, and they will miss the opportunity. And to succeed, we have to bring more people into the process so that they can be part of this process on an early date. Only by doing so can we bring a consensus to all the stakeholders about this concept of small cities. In the meantime, there is another difficulty for small cities. Although there are more than half of the world's population, they are living in cities, but more people, they are living in cities with a population smaller than 500,000. Big cities, they are growing very rapidly, but small cities, they outnumber big cities. And the residents in small cities, they outnumber those living in big cities. So when we talk about small city, we have to not just talk about big cities, but also small cities. To make the concept of small city truly influential, we have to take into consideration small cities. Because of the limited resources and experiences of small cities, we have to face these challenges. So we hope that when they are making decisions, they are based on realities, not on compromises in politics. So these are the headaches of decision makers in cities. And a lot of the experts, they are working to find the answers. So what are the data that we can use to help develop those small cities? And what are the necessary innovations to systems and mechanisms that we need? My second observation is that what kind of data is needed to truly bring the concept of smart city on the ground? And also, what are the indirect ways of collecting this data? Take, for example, public transportation. In a successful smart city, the city would know the frequency and time of passengers taking each means of transportation. In a traditional city, you will not be able to obtain this data, but you can only get some clues. And when people enter and exit the subway, but we don't know which subway line that they took, and when people switch from subway line to public buses, the data will be missing. So without those direct data, we have to find some alternative data, so that we have to collect data in an indirect manner and also analyze the data in a very careful manner. And let's take a look at the real case. The subway line is just like railways, and after using them for a very long time, and the tracks will become unflat. So you will have to use sensors to measure the difference of height of these tracks. An engineer in London found out that ordinary cell phones, they are equipped with a sensor that can measure the vibration of the cell phone. So that is why they created a games app, and they encourage people to play that game when they are on subway. So this is very effective, and they don't need to use other magnetic technologies to collect data. So this is the indirect way of collecting data that I'm talking about. So by deep learning and by recognizing the different models, we can find some alternative data. It doesn't need some very advanced and cutting-edge technology. It only needs some innovative thinking. And most of the times, it relies on creative thinking, so that is why it's very difficult in implementation. So I have introduced to you two of my very interesting observations. I talked about how data can support a smart city, and also how we can use alternative data and creative thinking to solve our problems. I talked about the failure example between Google and the city of Toronto in a city renovation project. So I want to highlight the importance of innovation in systems and mechanisms. People are gradually coming to better understanding about the real challenges that we are facing, and we need to think about organization and also about our thinking. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that for smaller cities to become a reality, we have to rely on traditional thinking or innovative thinking. So we have to go beyond the narrow patterns of thinking, and only by doing that can we succeed. Thank you very much. So he touched upon this very important topic of a smart city. And he said that collaboration and shared goals are very important. He touched upon decision-making, operation, and also handheld devices. And now we're going to enter into the second part of this opening ceremony, which is AI and development unleashing new momentums. And let's bring another guest. He's coming to this conference for the second time. Hi, 小爱.
大家好，我是小爱同学。今天我不
Good
唱
morning.
了，但我
I'm
要
小
为
爱.
大家奏响下一乐章。
I won't
随着
sing
全球数字智
today,
能
but
和
I
产业
will
的
be
发展和融合，人工智能为经济发
conducting
展注入了源源
a
不
new
断的
chapter
新动能。
with the development
人
of
工智能的崛起
technology.
为经济
AI
发展
is
插上了
injecting
引
more
让我
momentum.
们可以翱
The
翔
rise
在
of
前
AI
所未
is
有的领
adding
域
to
和
the
高度，
power
让很
of
多
the
顾客
digital
能
economy
越
so
为
that
可
we can
能。
fly
就像我
at
今天
higher
竟然可以
altitude
和主
and
持
we
人
can
黄伟先
transform a
生
lot
一
of
起合
impossible
作。
into possible.
好
So
了，
today,
接下来
I'm
还
willing
是
to
把主
work
持的
together
工作
with
交
Huawei
还给
and
您了。
gently moderate this session.
好，
Well,
谢谢。
let me hand it over back to Huawei. Thank you very much, 小爱. And so AI is truly unlocking more fields and areas, and a virtual figure is now able to work together with a physical human being to gently moderate this session, and they are creating a new ecosystem of the world. And last month, Huawei has unleashed the Harmony OS. And ladies and gentlemen, now let's give the floor to Hu Houkun, who is the rotating chairman of Huawei Corporation. Let's put our hands up for our next speaker. Party Secretary Li Qiang, Minister Xiao, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a great pleasure to attend this year's World Artificial Intelligence Conference on behalf of Huawei. So the AI conference in Shanghai has already become a hallmark of the industry. Each and every year, it attracts a lot of high-tech giants. This is my first time participating in this conference, and I believe this is an opportunity of learning. Yesterday, I spent some time in the exhibition zone of this conference when I was visiting some of the booths. I have one important finding, and that is that in the previous years, when we go to exhibitions, we see some very dazzling technology and applications. But this year, I wondered about the exhibition area. I didn't see a lot of dazzling demonstration of technologies because we are already very familiar with that. And this shows that these technologies, they are well applied in many different industries. And this is a not so obvious change, but this reflected that AI is truly penetrating into different part of our society. It's just like a spring rain that is quietly falling onto the forest. And let me share with you my observations. And we are all here in Shanghai, and we know that there is a hotline 12345, and that is the resident service hotline in Shanghai. So I think that if you are living in Shanghai, this is a very familiar telephone number. I was told by my colleagues in Shanghai that when they have any problem, they would dial the number, and I even tried that number this morning, and they said that this is very efficient. Do you know what is behind the efficiency of this service hotline? And this is powered by AI over the past few years. For example, it's using automatic order distribution, voice recognition, and also sensing of your mood during a conversation. So with these technologies, the service hotline is improving its efficiency because we were involved in this process, and we know that traditionally it may take 1 minute before an order is distributed, but right now it takes only a few seconds. And last year during the epidemic, each and every month it handles 500 to 600,000 cases, and that means that in every minute it's handling 20 different calls, and without improvement of efficiency, and this is something unimaginable. Also, it can predict some of the problems the city will suffer from. For example, when there is a cold gust of wind, it will estimate that some of the costs will be about the warming system. So this can be a very challenging part of the city governance, and it's only natural that you are serving to the satisfaction of the residents. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is a service hotline of Shanghai that is closely related to each and every one of us. And when empowered by AI, the satisfaction rate has dramatically improved, and the city becomes more livable and more pleasant for people to live in. And of course, and this is just one of the many cases that we see today, AI is fundamentally and comprehensively changing the way that we live and work. And right now we are at an important crossroad. It has transitioned from the cloud in air to the tools that we use in day-to-day life. To accelerate this pace, I'd like to share with you our proposals on behalf of Huawei. Number one, we need to gather strength from all sides and develop AI-powered new type of city infrastructure so that AI-powered algorithm is just like water and electricity, and they can become part of the public resources of the city, so that intelligence is everywhere, so that I believe in a new era, electricity and gas, they will be very important, but in this new era, AI-powered algorithm is just like the public utilities that we use every day. In the beginning days of reform and opening up, and we see that to become rich, we have to first build road. But right now, we have to build the new generation of city infrastructure that is represented by AI-powered algorithm. So AI-powered algorithm and calculating power should become a publicly accessible resource. Already, more than 20 cities in China have come to this very important understanding. Huawei is also very glad to be part of this very important initiative. With our experience, I'd like to share with you my observations. One is that we have to make very reasonable planning. We have to coordinate the building and focus on real calculating powers, and we have to avoid this repeated construction of calculating centers. And also we have to put planning at the first stage. For planning and for construction, we have to start from small projects and then have a vision in your mind about the future so that you can always allow investment to truly leverage its potential. Thirdly, very importantly, the governments, providers of technology, and also all the different stakeholders, you have to jointly collaborate in this process of planning and construction and application of these technologies. For example, in Wuhan, the AI calculation center was planned last year, and in May this year it was put into operation. Since put into operation, it was running full load, serving the local universities, research institutes. It has served them very well, and right now it is in a process of expanding its calculating power. It's in a phase 2 project. So all the equipments, all the computers are running, and it's running in full load and capacity. So this shows that all the investments are making great sense. And also we need to focus fundamentally on technology. And this is the root of a forest. Only when the root is solid can a forest be lush and prosperous. We have to develop some root technologies, and that includes processors and also AI calculating frameworks. This will enable us to dramatically improve the resilience of smart calculating. And last year it was here, Huawei was very honored to become the undertaker of the project of fundamental researches. And let me report to you the progress that we have made. And over the past 2 years, Huawei has been committed to building smart and hard software platforms. And that includes processors, Atlas hardware, and also a smart calculating framework, and also our AI framework, and also Model S. So based on all these platforms, we built a comprehensive ecosystem for AI. In terms of hardware, we are working together with 10 partners. We have a number of AI hardware products, and Huawei is already a leading AI operator in China. We have jointly delivered 600 AI applications with more than 500 partners. Let me tell you that tomorrow we are going to release our solutions and products in smart transportation and smart cities so that we can truly bring AI to every corner of our life. In our exhibition this year, and yesterday through my visit, I found out that a lot of the companies, they are demonstrating their core technologies, solid and hot core technologies. Here in Huawei, we are willing to form a new landscape where one company catches up with another and where we jointly progress together. My third point of proposal is that we need to use technology in a very bold manner so that we can break through the bottleneck of AI for inclusive development. And inclusiveness for AI is now at a very important stage. At different stages, there are different bottleneck issues. Right now, the bottleneck for AI going into different corners of the society is not lying in technology, nor is it lying in the application layer, because we have a lot of technology and platforms and applications. The bottleneck today is the development efficiency. AI development right now takes too much time and it's too slow. So this is the bottleneck. AI development right now is very traditional. We are relying on a lot of experts, and we have to spend a lot of time collecting data, analyzing the data. It requires a lot of manpower and talents, and it's very impossible for you to deliver a solution within a very short period of time. And we believe this is the old style, workshop style of software development, and we have to fundamentally and dramatically improve the efficiency of application development. If we could use a large-scale pre-trained model, we can dramatically improve this efficiency. that will enable that developers to come up with more targeted and more precise AI models very quickly. And we believe that this model will drive the development of AI, and Huawei stands ready to empower such transition. And to facilitate such transition this year, Huawei worked together with our partners and delivered this Pangu pre-training model. And this is including a big model that can support understanding and recognition. And we hope that more and more enterprises, they can be working together with this module so that AI can truly bring inclusive benefits to different sectors of the economy. Only when we have a very solid foundation, very firm roots, can we have very rapid operation of the application, can we have prosperous development of the AI industry. Huawei is willing to work together with all sides so that we can expand the skill effect of AI and also build a new ecosystem for the AI world. Thank you very much, Hu Mengkun, for your sharing, and thank you for sharing with us cases, and also thank you for letting us know the significance of a firm root. In the future, AI will bring a lot of benefits for the world. And in this year's conference, we have invited a lot of entrepreneurs to talk about their understanding of AI. Now, let's give the floor to Bo Lezhen, who is the president of Siemens. Now, please watch his video presentation. Party Secretary Li Qiang, thank you very much for inviting me to the 2021 World Artificial Intelligence Conference. Today, the human society is facing severe challenges of COVID-19, climate change, and economic crisis. To meet these challenges, we have to embrace economic revolution. So China has included innovation into the core of its 14th five-year plan. For that, I commend the decision of the Chinese government, and China is also committed to sustainable development. It's not just China, and digital transformation is a strategy that every market, every country has to embrace, and there is a great potential in that. For example, in buildings, and digital technology can save 20% of the cost. In transportation, digital signal technology is able to improve the efficiency by 20%. In industries, 60% of the production tasks, they can be automated. So this means that if we use digital technology, we can harvest better efficiency with less investment. So digital is giving us more productivity and flexibility and also sustainable development. AI plays a very important role in this transformation. But for AI to succeed, we need three prerequisites: expertise and knowledge and experience, trust, and the guarantee of internet security, and also collaboration and ecosystem. Then what do I mean by industrial expertise and experience? For industrial application, if we only give data to a couple of scientists and for them to come up with AI analysis, then that is not enough. Of course, each AI experts in a company, they will be able to identify the abnormalities of the database, but if you delve into the data, you will be able to understand the pump rationale of the system, and then you will be able to come up with an algorithm to identify the problems, and this is what Siemens is doing right now. We have more than 1,000 AI experts, and they have the industrial expertise and experience to help create value for our clients. In the auto industry, AI is already a prerequisite to improve production efficiency. And let me share with you the story of Mercedes-Benz Beijing, and Siemens is helping Benz of Beijing to improve its pressuring technology and using AI. And if we use traditional technologies, it would be very lengthy and time-consuming for us to truly sense the vibration. But right now, with sensors, with our data collection, and also with the expertise of Siemens experts, we will be able to identify abnormal vibrations. So this is able to trigger early warnings and help avoid some of the system failures. So this is how AI can create real value in this physical world. But we have to also fundamentally understand the challenges facing our clients and their operation. In addition, we have to build mutual trust and share data. But even with high level of mutual trust, there's also the danger of data leakage, and the system of security may breach. So now let me share with you the importance of security, and China has already realized the importance of this issue. In Siemens, we are able to deliver software products with a digital certificate so that all the clients, they can obtain those data from a reliable source. In the meantime, we are helping Norway to renovate their railway system. Norway has more than 11,000 signals and also more than 300 signal machines. A traditional system will be replaced. In the new system, they only have one digital lock and also digital center. So Siemens secured this project because we can provide unparalleled digital security solutions. So cybersecurity is guaranteed with our solution. So cybersecurity is also one prerequisite for us to achieve the digital transformation. The mayor of Shanghai understands this very well, and he said that we need to improve cybersecurity to improve the resilience of our cyberspace. He also reiterated that collaboration is very important. So this brings me to my third point I want to share with you. Today, collaboration with all stakeholders is more important than ever. No country, no organization is able to engage in digital transformation single-handedly. Everybody has to work closely together. If we truly want to help the customer, we have to listen to the ideas from our suppliers so that we can build an ecosystem in which everybody can contribute so that all the stakeholders can benefit and harvest. For example, China has built an AI lab working together with 15 partners for a very long time. We are maintaining close collaboration with Tsinghua University. Our most recent project is an industrial AI and Internet research center, and that is focusing mainly on AI. Next year, we're going to celebrate the 150th anniversary of collaboration between Siemens and China. With the passage of time, Siemens has already become an indispensable force of China's economic development. Here in China, we built a fully localized value chain. We have garnered the high-level recognition from the government, from the enterprises, and from the society. So that is why I'm very willing to accept the invitation of the Shanghai municipal government so that we can provide the next generation of digital empowering platform for the next generation of auto industry. So my suggestion is that we can build an ecosystem that is based on equal cooperation so that we can achieve the exchanges and merging of data, technology, and talents between different borders. And also, by adopting cybersecurity technologies, we can achieve effective regulation over the cyberspace. Compared to 10 years ago, China has made important and dramatic changes, and this is truly astonishing. The Chinese society is so prosperous and so resilient. What a remarkable achievement this is. Thank you again for your invitation. I wish this conference a resounding success. Thank you very much to Siemens for sharing with us how AI can truly benefit the physical world. And more importantly, from Siemens, the global collaboration concept is highlighted. Our next speaker is an industrial leader in made in China. So how can we use AI to further improve made in China products? Without further ado, let's bring on stage Madam Dong Mingzhu from Greece. Party Secretary Li Qiang, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I've been listening to your presentation. These are presentations from experts, from engineers, from entrepreneurs. I heard their understanding about AI. I'm from the manufacturing industry. So what is the relationship between us and AI? I think it's reflected in three aspects. The first, in the field of manufacturing. From 2016, we brought digital technology to manufacturing. With our practice, Gray has built a managed factory, and that is empowered by digital technology. So we are truly building a smart factory that is fully automatic, well-equipped, and 5G covered. As Siemens has mentioned, that digital technology has delivered efficiency, quality, and speed. From this slide, you can see that traditionally this needed 10,000 people, but right now with digital technology, we only have less than 1,000 people in that factory. And 5G is merging with industrial internet, and we rely on a lot of talents, and that is why we are working together with universities and also AI experts. Traditionally, you may think that the industry sector is a traditional sector. You also believe that internet is a modern sector. But through collaboration, you now know that internet is pushing the development of traditional industries and the manufacturing industry in particular. So this shows what great impact internet is having on every process. For example, precise distribution, circular collection, and also automatic storage management. So with this great transformation, traditionally we had more than 100,000 people. We only had a limited revenue, but today we have few people. We have only a few people, but we have a huge revenue. At the very beginning, we only have 800 researchers, but right now, our researchers top more than 16,000. We have 16 research academies, and we have more than 1,000 labs. These are preparing a grade in this industrial internet age. And we believe that we are now in an era of digital, smart, and intelligent. So we have made important breakthroughs, and that has truly benefited our life. And you can take a look at some of the smart technologies and products that we have. We have interaction between human beings and products that are digitalized. So in this internet age, after listening to the presentation from Siemens, big data includes every aspect. And Li Yanhong mentioned that they are deploying also in transportation and in telecommunications. And also, Pauline Ma said that AI can truly benefit the manufacturing sector, and we are talking about zero carbon emission. Air conditioner, they account for 50% of the electricity use. So we are using digital technology to better improve our technology and products. After 9 years, we have come up with this zero carbon source cooling technology, which wins the International Top Award. Big data has empowered our products and also empowered the interaction between different products. The zero carbon source cooling technology truly has brought a lot of changes. And what are they? So that is zero carbon emission. In the meantime, at a time when the average temperature of the world is on the rise, if we could use this technology, we can reduce the average global temperature by 0.5 degrees. And that is very important. In addition to products, we can also leverage and empower our solutions. And traditionally, we may pay a very expensive electricity bill, but right now, we can also save electricity. We are integrating our air conditioner technology with cooling storage technology. So that is why we believe that internet is aligning perfectly with the manufacturing industry, and only by so can we truly build a smart era. Innovative technologies help to create this living community for man and nature. We have been founded for 30 years, and today I'm supposed to talk about smart technology. As the representative from a traditional manufacturing industry, what I want to tell all of you is that in this era, we have to keep pace with our time. Let me tell you that digitalization is about every aspect. We talk about smart real transit transportation. And you may think this is the highlight of smart technologies application in reality. But if we could use digital technology in traditional industry sectors, we can truly make a very big difference, and we can truly deliver a lot of innovations. Last but not least, because I'm from the manufacturing industry, I'm mainly here to learn from all of you. And let me share with you that in the digital era, the traditional manufacturing industry in China will truly make the whole world recognize the power of made in China products. Thank you very much, Madam Dong. So just now we have heard a couple of presentations about digital technology, and to grow very rapidly, we have to focus also on security. And now let's give the floor to President of 360, Zhou Hongyi. Party Secretary Li Qiang, Minister Xiao, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a great pleasure coming to Shanghai again. In January this year, Shanghai introduced its strategy of driving the next generation of development with digital technology. I read the documents. One keyword that I found is general security framework. So let me share with you what I mean by security. It's a little bit odd that when everybody is talking about development, I'm talking about security, and I'm not here to bring bad luck to all of you. And security and development, they are not in a paradox, and they have to grow in a synergy. So the more we talk about security, the more secured development is. So we are not talking about something that is irrelevant here. So this year marks the beginning of the 14th five-year plan. According to the 14th five-year plan and also the long-range objectives through the year 2035, we have to build a digital city across the country. And digital city is the core scenario of digitalization. And to this day, digital city does not mean a lot of the information systems in a city. Truly, it's the comprehensive urban digital transformation using digital technology to drive, empower, and reshape our cities. To give you one example, in the future, in addition to those small vehicles, we are also using smart governance systems to manage the city's environment. We have smart cities and smart vehicles. In a smart city, every electricity pole, every garbage can, every drainage lead is equipped with a sensor, and each and every second they are gathering data and pulling them together into the smart brain of the city. So this is a new strategy of the country in building a smart society. But fundamentally speaking, the digital transformation of a city is to build a digital twin. So we're using big data, cloud computing, 5G, and AI, and blockchain, and other technologies to build a digital twin by collecting data and breaking through the physical and digital world. In that process, we may also integrate with the different databases of the city. Eventually, we are building a closed-loop digital twin, and we can empower the physical world with the digital space. So over the past 20 years, we have only completed the first part of the game. But the next 20, 30 years, we're going to initiate the second part of the game. In that part of the game, decision makers, and they will also be the owners of big data. Although digital city gives us a lot of imagination, but from a security perspective, the more digitalized it is, the more challenging it is from a security perspective. In the future, we can imagine a very sophisticated scenario because internet is connecting all the different government agencies and also infrastructure, and that includes small transportation, small vehicles, and also IoT equipments, and also gigabytes of data for governance and business. So it's truly sophisticated and challenging a scenario, and there will be no boundaries between different types of internet. So internet is more exposed to attacks. So recently there is one company that is currently under investigation. It's a trending topic today. I won't mention the name of the company, but you know that when you gather a huge amount of data, that data is inevitably related to national security. So to put it simply, there are three features of digitalization. So this is actually a quote from a colleague. He said that everything is programmable. Everything must be connected, and big data drives business. So the theme of this conference is intelligent connectivity and inspirational cities. So when we talk about open sourced algorithms and open sourced applications, the fundamental is software. And also for AI to work, we have to gather data. So even in the AI world, the fundamental lies in big data. So everything is programmable. This means that we will have a lot of loopholes, and that means that there are weak points, weak spots that can be attacked because they are very fragile. And to just give you one example, in the United States, the oil pipeline company was attacked by a Russian company. So all the pipeline management system suspended, and that has triggered a very challenging situation in the eastern part of America. And in China, we have also seen similar cases that the system of the hospital is attacked, resulting in the delay or suspension of a lot of the operations, the surgeries the hospital is doing. So in the future, when we connect a lot of hardware into the system, an attack on that ecosystem will leave substantial and tangible consequences. For example, the blackouts of Venezuela 2 years ago, and also this year in California or Florida. I forgot which state it is. There was a cyber attack in a water company. So poison is automatically poured into the water, and that has generated very severe consequences to that company and to a lot of people. So when data is attacked, it will mean very severe economic consequences and crises. In recent years, cities are becoming the targets of blackmailing and targets of attacks. Attacks are now shifting to government agencies and also to data centers. And that is very horrible. New Orleans, for example, over the past year, it has suffered from 3 attacks. When cities are built on internet infrastructure, so internet will become the basic infrastructure of the city. So we have to build a safe internet, safe cyberspace. We have to build a safe foundation for the city. But we have been doing traditional cybersecurity for 20 years. We have a lot of old thinking, and that is not sufficient in meeting some of the new challenges. Most importantly, security was regarded as an attachment to internet. And it's not working in this new era. If we simply pile up the portfolio of the product, that will not be able to solve the issues of safety for small vehicles and small cities. So we have to merge the data system and security system. And by that, we will be able to truly build a truly workable framework for small cities. Over the past 20 years, we have invested more than 20 billion RMB in security softwares, and we are able to deliver a security capability framework. Right now, under the support of the Shanghai municipal government, we're working together with Pudong New Area and building a security capability framework for that district. And the key deliverable of that framework is a empowering system that can guarantee the safety of the city's internet infrastructure. It is able to provide the basic services for the city. In the new era, infrastructure of internet is just like water and electricity. So we are truly gathering and integrating different values and different systems, and on that system we are able to support the different scenarios of the smart city. That includes smart communities, smart vehicles, and smart energy. And truly we can build a safe foundation for a smart city. Last but not least, let me once again thank the great support of Shanghai municipal government. 360 is building a smart city brain in Shanghai, and we, as a large public company, we have headquartered in Shanghai. Over the past 3 years, our market value has increased by tenfold, and our revenue has also redoubled. So we are going to contribute with the latest concepts of security and contribute to the digital transformation of the city. Thank you very much. So security will play an important role for smart city. And now I will invite back Ling Yuan. We're going to enter into another session of this ceremony. So AI will be able to unleash new potentials of our economy. In the meantime, it will deliver tangible benefits to our life and improve our living experience, and also narrow the gap between virtual and physical world. Yes, AI is changing every aspect of our life. So we are harvesting better experiences so that I can have better virtual effect. And do you want to see a demo? Fantastic. This is the first time this virtual moderator is changing her clothes on the stage. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ling Yuan. Thank you for your wonderful demonstration of this skill. AI is able to unleash more skills in the future. Thank you very much, Ling Yuan. And now, let's bring on stage our next speaker. He is very much connected to Shanghai. He wants to make the city very warm with AI technologies. And now let's bring on stage CEO Chi Li of Shangtang Technology. Party Secretary Li Qiang, Minister Xiao, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a great pleasure standing on this podium, sharing with you our understanding about AI paradigm. And Shangtang is very glad to witness the development of WAIC. I just took a glance of my photo gallery. Each time I come here, I take a lot of photos. In 2018, we talk about AI empowering the new era. In 2019, a connected world, and now to 2021, intelligent connectivity. So there are a lot of AI conferences across the country. But if you do an online search, a lot of the result comes from WAIC, which means that WAIC has already become an important witness of history of artificial intelligence development. Now let me talk about innovation. And AI is a source of innovation. And traditionally, we have been talking about the innovation paradigm, which is collection, deduction, data analysis, and simulation. But with AI, that can be greatly changed. The most fundamental innovation comes from talents, comes from the inspiration of talents, comes from the gestures of genius. So today, I want to talk about, in the world of AI and supercomputers, now, can we ask the question of 1952, can machines think? Can machines guess and predict the future world? The answer is definitive because in a lot of the areas, and there are such cases. What are the prerequisites of such scenario? Over the past 20 years, you can see that the best computer, their algorithm, has increased by more than 1 million folds. And this is just mind-blowing. The more space that we explore, the more algorithm and computing power that we need. A lot of the calculation doesn't need any data, but this is pushing us to constantly iterate the way that we calculate. So why we use new equipment, and this is just like the collision machine for particles. So we are plating to generate new particles so that we can understand more about the unknown world. But because the world that we're going to explore is unknown, so when we are defining the boundaries of the internet, we have to put that into different industries. And actually, throughout the history, a lot of the applications of or the inventions of the human being derived from guessing. And we know that when the inventors of airplane, when they were inventing an airplane, they did not know what is the logic, what is the science behind that. So the same goes to AI. We are well guessing. Let me show you some examples. Autonomous driving, autonomous parking. If you're an experienced driver, you know how to do that, but that is very difficult to be transplanted into a computer system. Even a lot of the scientists, they find it very difficult to come up with the automatic logic. But that does not mean that we cannot evolve in this technology. And now let's talk about autonomous driving. Outside of this hall, there are a lot of such technologies. The first thing a passenger asks when they board on our car, that what is the mileage that you have so far registered without human intervention? So I'm very pleased to hear such questions. So this means that our general public, they are having better knowledge about our technology. And in the future, when we truly iterate our technology, we can expand the possibilities. And we also have decision-making in an open environment. And that is about environment. So that is about gaming. In a game, it's more sophisticated. And for human beings, it's very difficult to come up with a standard answer. And we also talk about small transportation, and it's very hard for human beings to come up with a standard and perfect answer. We try to use AI guessing to solve the problem. And we can save the average waiting time by 50%. Will that be further improved? So we are still exploring, but so far we have had a lot of miracles delivered to us by AI. In Shanghai, it is building a smart community and smart city, but when we are truly doing that, we found out that it's not truly big data. We are only solving some day-to-day problems. For example, falling hazard from a skyscraper. And we won't be able to have data, a lot of data for that. Also fires, and also the falling of the elderly. There are not so many data on that. So for AI to work in these fields, we have to rely on AI guessing. In a lot of the scenarios, there won't be this scenario of data-based iteration. So that is why Shangtang is delivering this development-oriented and human-centered principle of ethics in AI. we need to look at the ethics control of AI from a standpoint of development. All the ethics management aims at serving the human world with AI better. If we don't talk about development, it's very easy to achieve any function or targets. And also AI is developing very quickly, so you need to balance different parameters from the perspective of development. So just as Party Secretary Li Qiang has mentioned, we need to have in place agile management. In 1865, when the first car was invented in Britain, there was a guy waving a banner 50 yards in front of the vehicle. So, which means that we have traveled a very long journey from the first car in 1865. So today, machines guessing or machines conjecture is very important. So, because an apple fell on the head of Newton, the theory of gravity came into existence. So we hope that AI can continue to guess and benefit the world. And I believe that we have just initiated the discussion about inclusive finance, inclusive AI, and now let's bring on stage Shen Nanpeng, who is the channel partner of our company. Now please take a look at the big screen. Thank you very much, Xu Li. Party Secretary Li Qiang, Minister Xiao, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure meeting all of you. And this is a wonderful gathering of industrial experts and scholars. And because of the pandemic, I cannot make it there myself. But let me tell you that secure capital for quite a number of years has witnessed and nurtured the growth of a lot of the emerging companies. And a lot of those companies are AI technology companies. And today on this platform of this conference, I want to talk a little bit about AI and how AI can change the way of consumption. And let me share with you some of my observations about the AI industry. And there is a lot of potential for us to collect data from the daily living scenario. If we compare algorithm and scenario as the two legs of AI, and we found out that algorithm is a very long and thick leg, and it's growing exponentially each and every year. In 2020, the deep learning parameter of algorithm is a gigabyte, but right now it's a terabyte. But the living scenario is lagging behind. It's the other leg that is very thin and very weak, and there are a lot of data that we don't have. For example, clothing, transportation, living, and transportation. So there is a lot of data that we're missing, and we need. Over the past few years, in the field of AI plus intelligence, we have identified some very interesting scenarios. For example, COVID-19 has reduced the amount of travels and also the use of public transportation. So there are a lot of people that are doing fitness exercises in their homes, and we supported and invested a company called FitUp, and that company is using some customized algorithms to schedule your workouts and curriculums. So within your home, you can have this virtual and professional tutor. And also, we are investing in another company, and that is Cloudwheel, and that is using a robot that is cleaning your floor, and it's just like a human hand that can reach every corner of your floor, and it's way much better than traditional cleaning robots. So AI and home life is more integrated. The more merging the R, the better we are able to unleash the potential in these aspects. And also, the AI that can sense your mood is quickly improving. And today, if you go to a hotel and an office building, you will see a lot of service robots. And right now, the AI is unable to comprehensively and completely understand your body language and your mood and your word language, of course. But so in a lot of the service scenarios, we're talking about handling of complaints and also companion of AI. The users, they don't tend to trust our AI robots. So to achieve more friendly interaction between AI robots and human beings, so AI has to pitch in to dramatically improve that. In the particular scenario of community-based old age care, we can come up with more data and improve the sensibility of AI. And we are investing in one local company in Shanghai that is called Fushoukan, and that is exploring a lot of the very sensible services, and that is delivering even more convenient old age care experiences by relying on some sensors. It can automatically collect data and very intelligently diagnose the situation, and it's very intelligently building a bridge between the robots and the old age population in a community. And thirdly, AI is exploring the possibility of solving the difficulties in hospitals, in education, and also in medicine-related education. AI is using a lot of virtualized images, and AI plus health is unleashing a lot of possibilities. So the general public is having a lot of expectation for better services going forward. And that is also inspiring news for a lot of investors and researchers in the medical field. For generations, they have been working very hard in pushing the limits. In medical images, there is a company called Shoukun Technology, and that is the world's first AI company that has been licensed for AI images and AI diagnosis. And traditionally, when an appointment with the doctor needed 30 minutes, and that is reduced to 2 to 3 minutes, and that is very capable in diagnosing liver diseases and also in cardiovascular diseases. And it has built a presence in more than 800 hospitals, and it has dramatically improved the efficiencies of doctors in imagery departments. Last year, during the high time of epidemic in Wuhan, using the AI pneumonia diagnosis system, the local doctors very efficiently diagnosed a lot of COVID-19 cases. Also, we brought the Chinese experience to overseas. And the most important part of this technology is the pulmonary sensing system, and right now it will be enlisted in the procurement program of the UN. I hope and I believe that in the future there will be more astonishing products emerging on the market. In addition, in drug development, there are some encouraging breakthroughs. No matter it is in drug discovery or drug development, there are meaningful innovations. So today we are talking about AI plus home service, AI plus old age care, and AI plus medicine. These are closely related to the life of the ordinary. And these are the key scenarios of AI. And let's jointly hope that in the future, more AI products and services will be able to benefit the human society and improve the way that we live. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have a question, actually, because you have participated in a WAIC for many consecutive years. In your understanding, have you noticed any change of the environment in Shanghai? So each year, the WAIC in Shanghai is very impressive. On this platform, people can get to know the latest of AI in the world, and also entrepreneurs and investors in the field of AI, they are discovering the potential of innovation in the city of Shanghai. In recent years, more new products and ideas and concepts they are debuting in Shanghai. And last year, Shanghai introduced a number of policies supporting digital transformation of the city, which effectively empowered the scaling up of AI technologies in Shanghai, and that has generated a lot of connectivity and broke through a lot of information barriers. And more importantly, Shanghai in recent years has introduced a lot of preferential policies in talent attraction. More talents they are moving to Shanghai and settling down in Shanghai. And today, if you go to a lot of the high-tech parks in Shanghai, you will find out that all types of talents, AI experts, they are working there. Some are locally trained, some are returnees from overseas, some are senior executives from multinational companies, and also there are industrial experts from Silicon Valley, from Southeast Asia, from East Europe. So this shows the essence of Shanghai. It can gather the strengths from all sides, and talents are the most important for AI development. So I have every reason to be optimistic about the digital transformation of Shanghai, and I'm looking forward that Shanghai will create and deliver a more resilient ecosystem of AI. So Xu, let me ask you a question. So Shangtang is a leading enterprise in AI, as you have just talked about. There are some considerations that you have made in AI ethics. So in what way has AI shifted the way we work and we live? So have you given any considerations about AI and production? Does AI bring more social equality or more inequality or prejudice? Thank you very much. This is a very good question. So when we talk about prejudice here, we're talking about the discrepancies of data. But data is mainly gathering the different services, for example, medical services, so we can bring these services to the general public. So I think that AI is basically delivering better social equality. All right, thank you very much, Li Yong. About AI inclusiveness, and there is one very important guest who has some special views. Now let's give the floor to CEO of SoftBank. Now let's take a look at the screen. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for inviting me to the WAIC. My name is Sun Zhengyi. I'm from SoftBank. 4 years ago, we established the SoftBank Vision Foundation, which is committed to supporting entrepreneurs to further engage in industrial and information revolution. In the process of information revolution, we, in particular, are quite supportive to the development and evolution of artificial intelligence. Now, looking in retrospect, you will find out that Internet has provided enormous support to changing the human society. So what are the revolutionary impacts brought by the Internet? So basically, there are two sectors that have gone through fundamental changes. The first is the advertisement industry, and the second is the retail industry that is embracing e-commerce. In global GDP, 1% is contributed by the advertisement industry, and 10% is contributed by the retail industry. If you look at the worldwide, 10% of the retail industry have shifted to e-commerce. And 10% of the retail business have transitioned to e-commerce. So in the advertisement industry, it's also 1% of the GDP. So this means that internet has changed 1% of the advertisement of the global GDP generated by advertisements. So what about the remaining 98% of the GDP? Transportation, medicine, finance, education, etc. And that is contributing the remaining 98% of the GDP to the world. With the application of AI, these sectors in the future, they will also transform. That will make the human society much better and more beautiful. I'm confident that the way people live will be elevated to a new level. In this new world, there will be no car accidents on the road. The sickness of human beings will be cured. Our life will be extended. There will be no difficult diseases troubling the human being. And in this new world, anybody, rich or poor, they can have access to education, no matter if you are living in a city or in the rural area. Kids will have equal opportunities to good quality of education. And people will live much beautiful and much better, happier lives. And they can enjoy work. They can enjoy life, and the work efficiency will be dramatically improved. So AI will improve the level of happiness for humanity. When that new world comes, we will still need inventions. The inventors will come up with new products, for example, railway products, cars, electronic products, and home appliances. And they will come up with advanced technology. But will that suffice? The answer is negative. The Industrial Revolution is not just because of the inventions and their inventing spirits, but also they have to have a clear vision about the future. At a time when the prospects of technology is not crystal clear, there is a lot of risks in investments. And so when we do that, a lot of the people, they will bear the cost of losing their investment. So someone has to guarantee to offset the risks of investments. So venture capitalists, they are very aware of the risks of investments. SoftBank invested a lot of companies, and more than 90%, 95% of them, they are not making a profit. And most of them, they are still losing money. And of course, the banks have to protect the security of investment. So that is why a lot of the investment, they are not willing to invest in startups that are not making profit. We have to have people who are willing to take the risks and go into those sectors when they are still at a stage of high risk. Why? Because we have to create better future. We have to help people lead better lives through innovation and invention. And just as I mentioned earlier, in the future there won't be any car accidents on road. People are not suffering from diseases. Everybody is accessing to the best quality of education. So I want to continue supporting excellent technology and fine entrepreneurs and startups. They are very smart. They are industrial. They also have optimism. They also have confidence in the future. So I'm willing to take the risks. I'm willing to join hands with them to create a better future. And that is the fundamental purpose that I established the SoftBank Vision Foundation, so that we can achieve a splendid future. Thank you very much. And I promise that I will continue to work with all the startups to continually innovate with the startups and deliver happiness and a promising future for humanity. Last but not least, I would like to wish a resounding success of this World Artificial Intelligence Conference, and thank you once again for the invitation from the organizing committee. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. Thank you very much. All right. Once again, thank you very much to Sun Zhengyi. Now let's come into the next session of the opening ceremony. The symbiosis of human and technology is indispensable from collaboration, and we have a streaming session in a different part of the country. And now let's take a look at the big screen. Party Secretary Li Qiang, Minister Xiao, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a great pleasure that I'm speaking at the WAIC 2021 via video link. The 14th five-year plan clearly stipulated that China will support Hong Kong's development of innovation. And we are building two platforms, and one of them is focusing on AI. WAIC 2021 is setting up a stream session for the first time in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong session will gather talents in discussion about the latest of artificial intelligence, so that we can align ourselves to intelligent connectivity and inspirational cities without the themes of the WAIC 2021. And I wish a resounding success of the conference. The Netherlands expresses our great congratulations to this conference. As the mayor of the city, I'm honored to be part of this fantastic gathering. As both city and Shanghai, we are sister cities for 20 years. Over the past 20 years, our city has deepened our collaboration, and Shanghai is a very important partner of ASPAR. We encourage entrepreneurship, education, and sustainable development, and we are committed to developing technologies and improving the technological capacity of cities. Our goals is to use technology and deliver convenient services for residents. And thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you for providing this opportunity for us to talk at the conference. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor for UAE to attend the opening ceremony of WAIC 2021. We are also very honored to attend the International AI City Forum. UAE and China are close and comprehensive partners, and both countries follow the vision of improving people's lives through innovation. China is an important cooperation partner in these particular fields. I believe that UAE and China can work together in AI-powered education, in research and development, in business, so that we can jointly create a better future. Thank you. Good morning to everyone. Greetings from Barcelona. I'm the Deputy Mayor of Barcelona. First, I'd like to congratulate the convening of the fourth WAIC. 2 months ago, we released the first AI strategy of Barcelona. AI will empower our city, our enterprises, our startups and research centers, and that is creating a lot of opportunity for us to build more effective and efficient opportunities to save energy. AI has the opportunity to leverage algorithm and computing power to potentially change the relationship between residents and cities so that they can transition from responding to residents' needs passively to actively providing services to the residents. And finally, I would like to wish a great and complete success of the conference. And I believe that soon we will be able to meet in person and talk freely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind greetings and good wishes. Our next speaker is a close friend to China. He has always been thinking about AI from the perspective of AI. And now let's bring Kissinger on our big screen. It's a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to talk about the concept level instead of the technology level of AI. About 5,000-6,000 years ago, I was in a conference about Atlantic relationships. The meeting included 1-hour discussion on artificial intelligence. In that year, each week I spent 2 to 3 hours participating in such discussion. So these discussions have reinforced my initial instinct that AI will be able to change the society. I believe that reason will be able to gradually advance and deepen mutual understanding of the world. But we have never thought that machine could be so successful in changing the way we live and work. But you wouldn't know through what means that you can understand the real consequences brought by those technologies. And right now, artificial intelligence has already become part of our economy. And soon, a big part of everybody's work and life will be depending on artificial intelligence. Even literally each and every one of us are not aware of where this came from and where we are going to in the future. So the government has to consider what role AI will play in the economy of different countries. And also what everlasting and deep impact will AI bring to the world. So we are actually walking towards a new world. or I can say that the new world is unveiling itself to our eyes. I believe that the advance of the AI will draw a line in many different fields. It will gradually walk into our lives, and it will also be better understood by the new generation of people. In the Enlightenment period of the West, philosophers like Kant said that the objective reality that we believe is actually a reflection of the world on the structure of our brain. So we may not know the fundamentals of the question, and then Einstein and Heisenberg and the researched into quantum physics, but they still haven't truly reached the limit of artificial intelligence. They still don't know what is the scientific and technological result of artificial intelligence, and we are still at the beginning stage of AI. In this process, we are going to have astonishing discoveries. And this will be an important revolution over the course of human evolution. As I said in the beginning, I'm a great admirer of the Chinese culture, and for me personally, I'm very pleased to be part of the efforts advancing China-US relations and people-to-people exchanges. I believe that the two sides should build a relationship that features win-win cooperation and mutual benefit. My suggestion to one side also applies to the other side. I believe that when America is developing those new technologies, it should not just research into its technological impact, but also research into its historic impact and also its implications to policies. And I believe also that the two sides should initiate dialogues. Our leaders between China and the United States, they need to engage in dialogue. And we have to tell ourselves we cannot see eye to eye in every aspect. But fundamentally, in a lot of the areas, inevitably we are going to have differences. And this applies in a lot of the strategic areas and also in the field of business. The tendency of the commercial field and also in high-tech field is moving towards monopoly. But I believe that neither side should seek monopoly. Both sides should reach consensus in setting some limitations and barriers so that they can respect each other's security interest. And that will be an interest of the business world in the future, and also an interest of humanity going forward. And this is the conclusion that I have reached after researching in artificial intelligence. I thank you for your research reception and invitation. Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Xiaobin. Finally, it's my turn to come onto the stage. I have seen that when Xiao Ai was on the stage, I could not wait to meet all of you. Although I cannot travel to the Mars, but I'm like thousands of the virtual figures. We are already living on this planet. We are companions of humanity. We are traveling towards a better future. As a new partner of mankind, It's my great honor to bring on stage the former Vice President of Microsoft, Dr. Shen Xiangyang, and Senior Consultant of the Kissinger International Consulting Company. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on stage Shen Xiangyang and Joshua Ramo. Joshua, welcome to Shanghai, and thank you to Harry. I like Shanghai. Shanghai is a very beautiful city. Yes, it's a beautiful city, and it's also where my parents are born. Now let's get into it. Thank you very much for inviting Kissinger to this conference. So we have been working together over the past few years. So what are the true impact of AI to the whole world? I think Harry Kissinger, he is an excellent historian, an excellent diplomat, and he's been part of some of the great movements of the world. He has a lot of optimism about the future. And in 1971, he paid a visit to China. 50 years ago, that's. So he is looking at the world from a historic point of view. And if you have such a vision, you could understand the world in a very deep manner. So he fused the basic logic of the world. So he feels that great changes come at a gradual pace. So he is very optimistic about the changes that are taking place in the world, but we have also seen some challenges. Yeah, I read his remarks in 2020 and also 2019. Can you just help us elaborate further on this?
What were the organizing principles of the
So what is the organizing mechanism of the Enlightenment period? So human reason is the fundamental benchmark measuring truth. Prior to that is Plato, and then Galileo, and then Rousseau said that in every different time we can make our own independent decisions. Human minds are not the final ruler of truth. Maybe machine can replace part of the human thinking. And this will fundamentally change the basic rules of the Enlightenment period. And you have been researching into computing science for quite a number of years. And where do you think we are going? Well, I think AI is pretty shocking in a lot of aspects as a practitioner, and because I have been doing this for more than 20 years. And 25 years ago, I found my job at Microsoft, and so I believe that Deep Blue has a lot of computing power, and also alpha beta search. So Alpha Zero is here, and it's unleashing even greater power. And just as Kissinger has mentioned that it's shifting the basic principles of Enlightenment. development movement in the West.
什么意思呢？就是这个组织，如果它其实任何一个环境当中的组织，它是由背后的技术来决定的。比如说我们现在经常讲的智能城市，但事实上我们居住的整个的世界呢，它就是由这个技术和技术的变革所推动的。那么这其实也是一种进化论，历史进化论。所以呢，你现在你觉得在你的研发当中，你觉得我们应该特别关注的是哪一个技术方向呢？首先我来回答你的，或者是康威的规则，是康威法则。其实呢，我觉得这个说的非常好。我看到这边也有这个康威法则的这个专家在这里，当我们讲到康威斯规则，在科学家在这个计算机方面说，我们说。
In the field of computer science, if you're talking about if you are programming with 4 people all together, and there's one step to connect all these different programming efforts, and if you talk about the small AI, just as Party Secretary Li has mentioned that yesterday at the experts review meeting, we have to coordinate with the other cities in the Yangtze River Delta. So this is a very important principle. When we talk about AI, we have to think about the emerging breakthroughs. For example, translation, machine translation, and this is very encouraging. So we just visited a history museums with a lot of computer scientists. We had a meeting. We talked about what will happen in the future. And they say that eventually you're going to be able to pick up a headphone and pick your own language. I know that you speak perfect Chinese, and in the future, when you come to Shanghai, you can understand how the locals talk to each other. Well, Kissinger has talked about this. So he has this European background. He's a European historian. He saw 400 years of war since the Enlightenment movement. So Professor Kissinger has reiterated the importance of peace so that we can avoid tragedies. And how to do that? We have to rely on effective communication. And technology can be a tool. It can enable cross-border and cross-language communication so that we can have a very good future, because AI has a lot of applications in many different scenarios. Eventually, we're going to identify an environment where AI can work together with one another, and tomorrow we will invite politicians of the world, and they will talk about the importance of an open system. So we need to deliver a stability first and foremost. I absolutely look forward to this discussion about cooperation in those different fields. I also need to talk about human society, how we can better cooperate. Shanghai government is embracing AI, is using AI very actively so that we can have synergy in development with other cities. We have a lot of sensing so that we can truly understand the city. The AI is it's a technology with the temperature so that it can make the city more livable. So, like it or not, we are the first generation in human society to ever get in touch with AI. So we have to think about what is the future we are moving towards. what is the global
There's never been a time in human history
application of
在
AI?
人类历史上，现在是最令人欣喜
Well,
的
there was
这个
never
多的
a
中国的
period
短
in
视
history that is as
之前
exciting
这个
as
就是
we
我们
have
知道你是非常
today.
非常忙的，然后祝你
I'm looking
今天的
forward
会
to
议
the discussions
非常
that
的
we are going to
顺利
have
一点
tomorrow.
祝你
Well,
今
thank you
天
very much,
那么
Josh, and I know that you have another meeting tomorrow, and I look forward to the discussion with you tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Shen and Josh. Now, please go back to your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, right now Shanghai is in the process of digital transformation. And by using digital twins, we are empowering digital transformation by focusing on the different scenarios of city service and community service. We are truly demonstrating the vitality of AI. And you can refer to the booklet by your side. Each and every year, we are releasing the results of AI powered smart city. For example, the small park, they have become a business card of Shanghai. And this year on this platform, we are going to release 5 world-class user scenario in AI. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's give the floor to Wu Qing, Deputy Mayor of Shanghai, to come onto the stage and release these projects.
好，让我们一起来见证这一荣耀时刻。我们一起来倒数3、2、1。
Now let's have a countdown of 3, 2, 1, release.
谢谢您。
Thank you very much, Mr. Wu Qing. Now please go back to your seats.
浦东新区正在打造社会主义现代化建设引领区，围绕城市运行全过程对经济
Pudong is
三大治理平台进行
building a digital transformation center using digital technology. It's transforming
推进应用场景建设。
towards better and more convenient services,
浦东新区将
and it's improving the level of satisfaction for the residents. In a new era, it will write a new chapter of digital economy. The second scenario is the digital twin of Lingang area.
依托数字孪生技术，
So Lingang area is focusing on multi industries, and it's embracing the digital technology by building a digital twin of the city, and it's building a world-class city powered by AI. The third is AI development platform. And Shanghai is building an open X lab, and the open SM lab has successfully iterated. In the meantime, it's supporting decision making, and its open AI lab is released, so it's truly developing the AI technology. Scenario 4, Digital Partner Program. In a digital era, each and every one of us should be a participant. So that is why we have released the Digital Partnership Program. So managers and developers, they are provided with more data so that they can better understand the world and what is the latest in the AI development. So everybody can be part of this program.
好，接下来马上来连线正在第
Scenario
5个应用场景的我的同事孙瑞奇。你好，
All
瑞
right,
奇。
now let's get in touch with Sun Ruiqi, who is on top of the scenario number 5. Good morning, Huawei and distinguished guests. And Jiading New City is building into a leading center integrating with smart transportation, smart vehicle, and smart sensors. It takes 9 minutes to complete this section of autonomous driving. In Jiading, every 3 minutes, there is a autonomous vehicle passing you. In 2012, in 2020, we dramatically expanded the area of autonomous driving on more business models, and business patterns will take roots in Jiading, and it will become a center of autonomous driving in the Yangtze River Delta. All right, this is all from me, and back to you, Huawei. All right, thank you very much, Rich. Thank you very much for showing me the scenario that you are representing. And now, let's release the SAIL Award, and this is the top award of the WAIC. Award-winning enterprises, they have set the benchmark of the industry over the years, and now let's witness the SAIL Award winners. Now let's take a look at the screen. 2021 SAIL Award is given to University of Liverpool and Shanghai Macro System Research Institute of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, Shenzhen Kunyuan IT Technology, and Zhejiang University's Digital Creation Lab, and Zhumingje, Wu Fei, and Lu Celu, to the thesis that they have jointly written, which is China marching towards the next generation of AI. Let's give them a big round of applause and bring them on the stage. Now let's bring on stage Chen Yin, Deputy Mayor of Shanghai and member of the Standing Committee of CPC Shanghai Committee.
Deputy
Mayor Mr. Chen will have a group photo with all the award-winning representatives. Once again, congratulations to all the winners. The digital transformation of a city relies on efforts of generations of people. And now let's invite on stage some experts, and they will join with a couple of kids to gently light up the torch of AI towards the future. And let's bring on stage Michael DeBatch from Fudan University, Chen Jie from Tongji University, and Kang Xiaou from Hong Kong City University, and Shen Xiangyang, former Vice President of Microsoft, Zhang Chenqi, and Teng Junjie. Please. So they are accompanied by those adorable kids who represent the future. And now let's light up the digital capital city. And Zhang Hopkins and Chen Jie, they will be putting their hands on the crystal ball. Thank you very much. So light up the digital city of Shanghai, and with that, let's conclude the opening ceremony of WAIC 2021. And this is a 3-day event, and it will be broadcast live throughout the 3 days. Thank you very much to all the participants, and thank you to all those watching online and on TV. Thank you very much.